have to think about that. I automatically grab them. I have all my stuff.
Thank you so much for letting us be together with you. Now, guys, want to say?
Amen.
Amen. All right, thank you, Ugandan. And just, I got to point out. All over in rural America, there's hidden pockets of poverty, people that are overlooked off the beaten path. The Ridge is one of those communities. It's known in this area as Goofy Ridge. It's just about 400 or 500 people. There's a lot of desperation, hurt and pain here. I knew it was a place we wanted to come and share the love and the light of Christ.
My understanding that started back in 2014. I was a part of the first class, and it was a vision that Steve kind of caught while he was in Uganda, Africa, and seeing the Abide program there and how it was really changing dozens of lives every single year for the men and women, young men and women who were a part of that, and had an idea for replicating kind of what was going on in Uganda, replicating that here in the States.
We started working in 2014. We came out to work with a guy named Jerry Stahl, who God used to start this ministry actually in this building right here, which is the first building where they met for services. And started seeing a lot of kids coming out, and every time the kids gathered there would be a meal, and just they were loved on and cared for. And pretty soon dozens of kids were coming, and just a few adults, and one by one they were coming to Jesus. Jerry contracted MS a few years ago and was just kind of run down physically. Started praying for some workers to come alongside.
And I've got MS, and I've got some other stuff too, but MS sometimes leaves me just really weak. And so the way Steve came into the picture is one Sunday when I was just completely wiped out. I'm like, Lord, I tried to raise up people from within the community. Would you please send help? And that was a Sunday afternoon that I prayed that. And the next morning, Steve called me and said, hey, I heard you're the person we're supposed to be talking to. We'd like to come alongside of you and minister with you.
And we had also been praying about coming to work out at the Ridge. I had been working in some area trailer park communities, sort of like the Ridge, and had some people ask me if there are other areas that we hadn't started working with. I said to a friend that, yeah, there's an area called the Ridge. It's a little way from here. It's almost too far gone. It would take somebody to be willing to come and live to make an impact here and a difference. And that young man said to me that I was faithless, that God could do anything. That he wanted to be one of the people that would start living here. So the Abide program was born with 6 guys that chose to live together and minister in this community in 2014.
And so gathered a group of 6 guys originally in the summer of 2014, and we had heard about what God was doing out here in Goofy Ridge and how there was a church plant that was beginning, and we just wanted to come alongside of what God was doing already by His Spirit out here. And so we met Jerry Stahl, and he said, I want you to focus on the kids. I want you to pour and give all your energy and effort into the young children out here and to change a generation.
That's actually a heck of a throw right there.
Come on, Steve.
Abide is a program where
students who are recently graduated either from high school or from college can take like a gap year in their life and dedicate that to serving a community. We'll have people that either are fresh out of high school or college and they will live together in a house, and so that they can work together and better commit themselves to just helping out a community. So we like to partner with a church to do this. This happened really quite a few years ago, born out of the heart of just one guy that really wanted to change a community and got together about 6 other guys, and they did that first Abide year, and it was awesome. We wanted to do it again, so I became part of the second really Abide year, and I did it for a year and loved it and never really left. Came back again and then slowly grew in the Abide program until I became where I am now. So
the Abide guys, they spend a lot of time. Anytime you need anything, anytime you need to talk, just need their support or anything, they're always there. I never, growing up, I didn't know church like this.
We started to live together right outside of Manitou. We got to live in a farmhouse for free from someone named Matt Meyer. Just gave us a house to use that us 6 guys lived in. And we prayed together regularly. We studied God's Word together. We were a community. We were a small little part of a local church here, just loving the people of Goofy Ridge. And so now, almost 6 years, over 6 years later, it's still continuing now with our first group of girls. So it's been pretty exciting and pretty cool to see how God has just had his hand throughout the program this whole time.
So we come out and we have Tuesday church with the kids. Beforehand, we do Bible studies with some of the adults that are around here that are willing to and wanting to. Thursdays we do work projects. Sometimes if we don't have any, then we go ahead and just hang out with the kids and be with the kids and build our relationship with them.
When I heard that this was going on for the girls this year, because this is the first year that the girls program has been a thing, when I heard that this was going on, I was very curious and I was like, ooh, that kind of sounds fun. So then I reached out to one of the girls and I was like, hey, like, what's going on? Like, what are you guys doing? Like, could I potentially, come out a couple days a week, maybe help out with food? And then she was like, yeah, but also you can move in with us. And I was like, oh. And for me, like, that was just a big, like, door open. And I prayed about it a lot, and I was, thinking about it, seeking counsel, and I had just come to the decision that, this is it. If I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it. And like, there's no better way to like spend my time this year doing.
Tuesdays before youth group, we'll usually go around and meet up with other people and hold Bible studies in their homes or just hang out. So it's a lot of just going around the community, and we'll do food drives on the side too, passing out food and just building relationships with people.
It was about 3 years ago when my dad died, and it was on this month of the 27th, and it really sucked. And then 2 weeks after, I asked the Abide guys if I can get baptized, and they all said yes.
It wasn't necessarily Timothy's idea to go live out and do that things. He was discipled. Paul refers to Timothy as just, you were like a son to me, right? And so Timothy's like in this line where he's had people above him who have poured into his life and discipled him, and then Timothy, out of that overflow, can reach out and help others, and then and does it really well. And so I think one of the things that the Abide program does really well is we have mentors and leaders over top of us who I get to meet up with once a week over breakfast or a brunch kind of, and we get to be challenged by them. And then because I have that support leadership, maybe a mentorship you could say, from those other pastors or adults around the area, then that is really encouraging to me and helps me to be able to continue to do what I do.
When it came around to my baptism, I didn't know who was going to do it. I thought it was going to be Braden, but it was my best friend, the one that been the closest to me since he died, and it was my friend Ethan, the Abide guy. And so we got the baptism going, and he asked me all questions, and I said yes because I really like God and everything, and I was happy that I found the faith of God, so I'm like, let's do it. And then he dumped me in the water, and I got baptized. And after that, I kept going and coming to church.
So I think it was 2012, I met Brent Ressler in a coffee shop, and he saw a screensaver on my computer that said Common Ground, which is a ministry that we started in Delavan with a desire to reach out to the community and cooperate together. And it was very similar to Small World Connections. So we struck up a friendship, and as Brent realized my heart for Africa, he told about a partner that Small World had in Junamagara in Uganda.
And within a few months of getting to know Steve, he found out about our youth center and our resale shop, and he came over and checked out what we were doing in our town in Chillicothe, and we got to be pretty good friends. And he found out that one of the things we do with Small World Connections is send people on short-term mission teams in hopes that they will develop a relationship with the missionaries they're serving and continue to serve them in a Timothy way through a Timothy attitude. And so Steve was very interested in Africa and getting his church involved in Africa. We had a partner in Junamagara in Uganda, and Steve was very interested in going. So we set the trip up for him, organized it for him, did the pre-trip meetings, and sent that first team. Since then, his church has gone on to support many children that are part of that orphan ministry. Steve has become a board member of that ministry. And one of the more exciting things that happened was that on that first trip, he found out about a ministry of discipleship that they do in Uganda called Abide.
And I was really excited for our church to investigate how we could get involved in orphan ministry through that ministry there. And so we started supporting them in 2012, and in 2013 we took a mission trip. And my kind of takeaway from that trip, the biggest thing that hit me as far as what we could put in action as we went home, was how this orphan ministry cared for their students between high school and university. And they had a gap year program called Abide, and where they would live together for 6 months and really be encouraged and equipped to look at university as a mission field. So I came back just really clearly called from the Lord to start something like that here, to encourage high school students to take a year to really investigate their motives and their ambitions, their agenda for their life, and to give it to the Lord in service. And so as we started looking for a community where they could serve together, the Lord led us to Goofy Ridge, and that's kind of how the Abide program began.
But it was just exciting to see that through line between those first two ministries lead into his trip to Uganda, which in turn ended up him bringing back a vision for the Abide ministry that we now know of in our community, in our area. So God is big, and we underestimate what he'll do if we offer our pieces of the puzzle. And Steve does that, and we've seen that Timothy attitude lived out in the Abide ministry, and now he's passed that on to the young people that are part of that, and they'll continue that ministry for years to come.